Imagine, for just a moment, what it means to wield absolute power, not metaphorical power, not influence or political leverage, but real life and death authority over thousands, maybe millions. The power to make people disappear, the power to declare war on a whim, the power to build palaces that scrape the skies or tombs that scrape eternity. The kind of power that allows you to commission your own immortality, or demand that your enemies be cooked alive inside a giant bronze bull. Now, imagine how such a person dies. You'd expect a death worthy of their station, right? A grand battlefield end, a whispered assassination in a candlelit corridor, or maybe slipping away peacefully surrounded by weeping courtiers. But history has other plans. Because sometimes fate, cruel, dark, ironic fate, comes for emperors not with daggers, but with deer, or dung, or a bathroom pit. Today, we're diving into the shadowy twilight of some of the ancient world's most powerful rulers, and the bizarre, often ridiculous, frequently horrifying ways they met their end. These aren't just deaths. They're cosmic punchlines written in blood, sweat, and absurdity. Let's begin in ancient Athens, around 620 BC. Picture it, a sun-bleached amphitheater packed with citizens eager to show their devotion to a man they both feared and revered. Draco, the lawgiver. The guy so strict, his name becomes synonymous with oppression. Draconian, we still say, a man who thought petty theft deserved the death penalty, and that mercy was a weakness. But here's the punchline. The crowd loved him. In a gesture of respect, one that in hindsight reads like a scene from a dark comedy, they pelted him with cloaks and hats, gifts, tribute. A rain of fabric from hundreds, perhaps thousands, and buried beneath this avalanche of reverence, suffocated by admiration, Draco died. Imagine that. The architect of death by law, killed not by rebellion or vengeance, but by affection. What must it have been like, in those final gasps beneath layers of wool and linen, to realize that your legacy would not be a blood-soaked code, but a bizarre parable about crowd control? Fast forward a few centuries to China, to a man who dreamed of living forever. Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor, a unifier of warring states, a builder of walls that stretch into myth, but also a man terrified of death. So terrified that he dispatched expeditions in search of the elixir of life. And what did he find? Mercury. Today, we know mercury as a neurotoxin, but to Qin Shi Huang it was hope in a bottle. He consumed it daily, convinced it would make him immortal. Instead, it turned his body into a chemical wasteland. His organs failed. His mind unraveled. Irony doesn't get darker than this. The man who buried entire armies alive, who thought he could cheat death itself, fell victim to his own desperation. He died not in glory, but as a bloated, twitching mess, poisoned by the very thing he believed would save him. Pyrrhus, king, warrior, and the man behind the term Pyrrhic victory, when winning costs you more than losing. He was a general's general. He went toe-to-toe with the Romans and left them shaken. But in 272 BC, fighting in the chaotic streets of Argos, something unexpected happened. A woman, an old woman, watching the battle from her rooftop, picks up a tile, maybe ceramic, maybe stone, and drops it. It smashes Pyrrhus in the head, cracking his skull, stunning him. Seconds later, enemy soldiers swarm in. They decapitate him in the street. That's it. After years of maneuvering, campaigning, and bleeding for military glory, Pyrrhus is felled not by a blade, but by gravity and pottery. It's almost Shakespearean in its absurdity. The ultimate warrior undone by a homeowner's weapon of convenience. Then there's Phalaris, a Sicilian tyrant whose cruelty was so legendary it could have been myth, except it wasn't. Phalaris had a flair for performance art level sadism. He commissioned a sculptor to build a hollow bronze bull, one that would convert human screams into the bellowing of a beast as victims roasted alive inside, a twisted fusion of engineering and horror. But as fate would have it, power changes hands. And when the people finally rose up, they didn't just kill him, they gave him a taste of his own medicine. They roasted him, inside his own invention. Think about that for a moment. The screams he once turned into entertainment now echoed from within. What must his final moments have been like, hearing the bronze walls echo back his own agony? China again. 581 BC. The court of Duke Jing of Jin, a prophecy said he would not live to see the wheat harvest. Naturally, the duke mocked it, scoffed. He even staged a little symbolic victory, tasting the first wheat of the season as a triumphant "up yours" to fate. Then nature intervened. He goes to relieve himself, and somehow falls into the latrine pit, and drowns in excrement. You can't write this, or maybe you shouldn't. But it happened. A duke, swallowed by the very waste of his own household. It's not just a tragic end, it's symbolic. A man drunk on his own invincibility, literally drowned in the byproducts of his rule. Jump forward to 364 AD to the Roman Empire. Jovian, a military man, briefly emperor after Julian the Apostate's death. Not particularly remarkable, except for the way he went out. Accounts vary. Some say he inhaled deadly fumes from a charcoal brazier meant to warm his quarters. Others claim he ate poisoned mushrooms, but both versions share a common thread: death by domestic accident. After all the chaos of the Roman Empire, the betrayals, the uprisings, the assassinations, Jovian dies like a forgotten commoner, asphyxiated or poisoned in his sleep. History barely noticed. Cleopatra, queen, seductress, survivor. Her death in 30 BC has become legend, a dramatic suicide, inducing an aspi to bite her, robbing Octavian of the satisfaction of a Roman triumph. But was it a snake? Some say poison smuggled in a hairpin, others whisper assassination. Regardless, the drama remains. The most powerful woman in the ancient world, who had lovers like Caesar and Antony, dies in a locked room, her body discovered with 2 puncture marks. It's theatrical, it's tragic, it's perfect, a finale worthy of her myth. Cambyses II, son of Cyrus the Great, once ruled the largest empire the world had ever seen. But in 522 BC, while mounting his horse, he accidentally stabbed himself in the thigh with his own sword. A freak accident, or poetic justice, because legend claims it happened at the same place where Cambyses had earlier slaughtered a sacred bull, a divine transgression in Persian tradition. So was it just bad luck? Or was it the gods? Either way, he bled out. A king brought low not by enemies or traitors, but by the very tool of his own power. Basil the Macedonian, Byzantine emperor, founder of a dynasty, tough as nails. But in 886 AD, on a hunting trip, things go awry. His belt, somehow, gets tangled in the antlers of a startled stag. The animal bolts, and Basil is dragged, over rocks, through brush, for miles. By the time they find him, he's battered, broken, dying. This wasn't a battle. It wasn't a plot. It was nature, uncaring, chaotic, and humiliating. And there's the rest, which I can cover in a future video. There's Sogdianus, suffocated in ashes, Mithridates, eaten alive by insects in the horrifying Persian death by Scaphism. Aeschylus, the playwright, killed when an eagle dropped a tortoise on his bald head. Heraclitus, smearing himself in dung to cure edema, only to be eaten by dogs. Each story feels like satire, but they're not. They're history, and they remind us, over and over again, that no amount of power, no title, no throne, no army, can save you from fate's wicked sense of humor. So what are we to make of all this? Is it just gallows humor, morbid curiosity? Maybe. Or maybe it's something deeper. Maybe it's a reminder that for all our ambition, for all the pyramids and palaces, the laws and legacies, death comes for us all. And sometimes it comes weird. The ancients believed in hubris and nemesis, in cosmic balance. And maybe that's what these stories really are. Parables, warning us that greatness and absurdity often walk hand in hand. That even emperors sometimes die like fools,